Hey there, I'm Benjamin from Loves Data. In this video, you'll learn how to set up e-commerce tracking on your WooCommerce store. We'll walk through the steps to send e-commerce events to Google Analytics using Google Tag Manager. The first step to tracking transactions and other e-commerce events from WooCommerce is to install Google Tag Manager on our WordPress site. So let's start by heading to WordPress. I already have WooCommerce installed on my demo WordPress site, so let's select Plugins, and then Add New. Now let's search for Google Tag Manager. We're going to install the GTM for WordPress plugin. This is an easy-to-use and reliable plugin that will add the e-commerce data layer to our WordPress site. So let's install the plugin. And let's activate the plugin. Now let's click Settings. We need to start by entering our container ID from Google Tag Manager. So let's head to Google Tag Manager to find this. We're looking at a new Google Tag Manager container that I've just created. There are no tags in the container yet, so I'm going to cover the steps to add Google Analytics to Google Tag Manager. You will need to follow these steps if you're getting started with Google Tag Manager for the first time. If you already have Google Analytics configured, then you can skip ahead. To add our Google Analytics tag, let's select Add a New Tag. Let's name the tag Google Tag GA4 Page View. And let's select Tag Configuration. Now let's choose Google Tag as the tag type. And we need to enter our measurement ID. Let's head to Google Analytics to find this. We need to navigate to Admin. Then select Data Streams. You can also find your data streams by selecting Data Collection and Modification in the menu on the left, and then select Data Streams. Now we need to open the data stream for our WordPress site and copy the measurement ID. Now let's head back to Google Tag Manager. You can paste the measurement ID straight into the tag, but I recommend creating a variable instead. This means you can easily reuse the measurement ID in multiple tags. And if you ever need to update the measurement ID, you can just update the variable and all of your tags will be up to date. To do this, let's click the variable icon. And let's click the plus sign on the top right corner. Let's name our variable GA4 Measurement ID. And now let's select Variable Configuration. We choose Constant as the variable type. And paste our measurement ID as the value. Now let's save the variable. Next, we select Triggering and select the initialization All Pages trigger. This will mean that Google Analytics is added to all of the pages where we've added Google Tag Manager. Now let's click Save. You can preview the changes, but I'm happy with the tag I've added, so I'm going to click Submit. And then Publish. This means we've now published the Google tag to our website, and this will send page views and other events to our reports in Google Analytics. The next step is to add Google Tag Manager to our WordPress site, so we need to copy the container ID. We can find this at the top. It starts with GTM and then a dash. Let's copy this. Now let's head back to WordPress. And let's paste our container ID. Make sure there isn't a space at the start or end of the container ID, as this will cause problems. Now, if you want to continue using another plugin to add Google Tag Manager to your WordPress site, you'll need to change the container code option to off. For example, if you're using Google's Sitekit plugin to add Google Tag Manager and you want to continue using that plugin, then just make sure you change this to off. Since I'm adding Google Tag Manager to WordPress for the first time, and I'm not using another plugin to add Google Analytics, let's ensure this is set to on. Now let's click Save Changes. For some reason, the plugin has saved our container ID, but the container code option is set to off. So let's change this to on. And let's click Save Changes again. Our container ID is saved, and we can see container code is set to on, so we can continue. Please take a moment to check that the container code option is set to on. If it's set to off, then the plugin will add the data layer to your site, but it won't add the Google Tag Manager container code. If it's not set to on, then select this and save your changes again. Okay, let's select the Integration tab and choose WooCommerce. Let's enable the Track e-commerce option and click Save Changes. So far, we've added the plugin to our WordPress site and we've added our Google Tag Manager container ID. This means Google Tag Manager is ready to capture details about our transactions and other e-commerce events from WooCommerce. The next step is to configure Google Tag Manager to pass all of this information to Google Analytics. Let's head to Google Tag Manager. To report on the way people engage with our store and purchase in Google Analytics, we need to set up a tag and a trigger in our container. If you're new to Google Tag Manager and want to learn more about how you can manage your tags, then take a moment to check out my other tutorials and resources. I've included links in the description below this video. Basically, the plugin we installed in WordPress adds a data layer that contains details about the products people view, the actions they take, and when they make a purchase. We can then capture this information and pass it to Google Analytics. To save you time, you can download my pre-configured container for e-commerce tracking. I've included a link in the description below this video. But we're also going to cover the steps to set things up in Google Tag Manager. Let's take a look. Let's navigate to Triggers, and let's click New to create a new trigger. Let's name the trigger GA4 e-commerce events. And let's select Trigger Configuration. Now let's choose Custom Event as the trigger type. This will let us look for the different e-commerce events that the GTM for WordPress plugin pushes to the data layer. This will include when people make a purchase, along with other events like adding items to the cart and more. Now for the event name, we're going to enter a regular expression. This will let us match all of the recommended e-commerce events. You can find the regular expression in the description below this video. I've already copied this, so I'm going to paste it as the event name value. And I'm going to enable the option to use regex matching. Now let's save the trigger. And let's navigate to Tags. And let's click New to create a new tag. Let's name the tag Google Analytics GA4 e-commerce. Now let's select Tag Configuration and choose Google Analytics. Then select GA4 event as the tag type. Now we can click the variable icon for the measurement ID and select our measurement ID variable. Next, we click the variable icon for the event name, and let's select the default event variable. This will automatically pass the name of the data layer event as the name of the event we send to Google Analytics. And since we created our trigger to only fire for e-commerce events, this will mean our tag only sends e-commerce events to our reports. Now we need to select more settings. Then under e-commerce, we need to enable the Send e-commerce data option and ensure data layer is selected as the data source. This will automatically capture all of the e-commerce information from the data layer and send it with our event to Google Analytics. So this will include things like the items people have purchased, the transaction ID, value, and other details. Now let's scroll down and select Triggering. Let's choose our GA4 e-commerce events trigger. This will mean our tag only fires for e-commerce events. Now let's click Save. Again, you can get a copy of my pre-configured container for e-commerce tracking that includes the tag and trigger we've just created. My pre-configured container also includes variables you can use with other tags. For example, if you want to configure a Google Ads conversion tag or send data to other third-party platforms. There's a link to get the container in the description below this video. The next step is to check that our tag fires correctly. So let's click Preview. We enter the URL of our WooCommerce store and click Connect. We can view a product. And add the product to our cart. Now, before we make a purchase, let's see what's already been sent to Google Analytics. Let's select the Tag Assistant tab. And we can see that our GA4 e-commerce tag has been fired a number of times. Let's select the GA4 measurement ID at the top. We can see all of the different events that have been sent to Google Analytics. And we can see this includes View Item and Add to Cart events. Now let's head back to the site and check out. We enter our details and complete the purchase. We can now see the confirmation page, so let's select the Tag Assistant tab again. We can see additional events have been sent to Google Analytics, and there is a purchase event too. Let's check the purchase event has come through to GA4, so let's head to Google Analytics. And let's navigate to Admin. Select Data Display, and then Debug View. We can see all e-commerce events, including the purchase event, have come through. And we can select this to see additional details. We've now added Google Tag Manager to our WooCommerce store, and we're sending e-commerce events to Google Analytics. If Google Analytics was already installed on your WordPress site, consider removing the existing tag. If you don't, you might see duplicate page views and other events appear in your reports. So I recommend migrating any other tracking you've configured to Google Tag Manager. Once you've tested your tag and you're happy everything is working correctly, you'll need to publish your changes in Google Tag Manager. Let's head to Google Tag Manager to do this. We just need to click Submit. Name our version, and click Publish. Our e-commerce tag has now been published to our live WooCommerce store. It can take 24 hours before data starts to appear in the standard reports. Once it does, you'll be able to use the monetization reports in Google Analytics and build your own custom exploration reports. To learn more about Google Analytics and Google Tag Manager, please take a moment to check out my courses and other resources. I've included links in the description below this video. And to stay up to date, please take a moment to subscribe to this channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.